This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today we're going to continue on talking about the archetypes. There's 4 of them, so there's probably going to be 4 episodes in this. And I am talking about a small variation of Jung's depth psychology, effectively. So to try and fit these things into 10 minutes is challenging, but I'm going to do my best. So hopefully you'll get a bit out of this. So this was, I put a little poll in my online Mood Prep group on Facebook. So if you're not involved in the Mood Prep online, just jump on Facebook, just search Mood Prep online. It should pop up and I'll accept you. Just have to request. You should also get it in the comments of this post as well. If not, otherwise just chill and listen to this. It's pretty simple. So yesterday I talked about the King and Queen energies and their shadow variations. I didn't talk about what shadow variation means. I've talked about it many times before, but I'm just going to brief on it again. Talking about the shadow, there's an inflated or an isolated shadow, depending which sort of information you want to look at. But the shadow effectively is the dark parts of our personality that we don't like and that we shun away from. So if we have particular difficulties in childhood, a lot of the times that will show up in our adulthood, but in ways that we may not be able to see yet get vomited on everyone around us. And so having a good coach or a good therapist or someone like this can actually help us see this, and from there we can kind of unravel it our own way as well. So the idea of shadow work is actually seeing, what parts of us are showing up, and all we need to do really, and I say all we need to do, there's a lot more to it, but is to see it for what it is, understand that it has a purpose, and then learn how to integrate the dark parts of our personality, and therefore we become whole, rather than just trying to show the things about us that we like or that we think that you like, right? So interesting shit. But today we're going to talk about the warrior and the mother. So if you could imagine there's an x-axis and a y-axis. At the top there is the king. Now if you're looking at it on the left axis, the king and queen's at the top, and in the left axis you're going to see the warrior or the mother. Okay, now this is a really interesting thing. It depends on how deep you want to get into mythology around what the mother really represents, but I'm going to talk about it from what I understand and my education around it as well, obviously. But effectively, let's talk about the warrior. Okay, so the warrior within us, and this is the thing, we are not one of these archetypes. We actually embody all of them. We may be stronger or be able to access one easier, but the reality is that we encompass all of these archetypes, not just one. And so the warrior within us, he is there. The mother within us, she is there. No matter what, we just get to choose and whether we integrate it and make sure it's a healthy warrior and a healthy mother. So I'm first going to kind of talk about the warrior, and I'll probably blend into the mother a little bit. Then I'll talk about the mother, and I'll also talk about the shadow variations as I go along. And so, in short, the warrior gets shit done, right? So the warrior is the person the part of you that calls to action. The warrior is the person in you that goes, fuck it, and then goes and does the thing that it's been procrastinating on, or maybe been putting off, or maybe it's like, fuck it, I'm just going to talk to him about it because I'm done with this, I've had enough. That is the warrior energy. It's actually testosterone as well, which is a direct form of energy. And so, similar to the weakling and the king, when the warrior is not really present, when we're not really sort of stepping into that part of ourselves, we end up being like indecisive, we end up sort of being self-defeating, which kind of moves more into the masochist. So the shadow form of trying to self-deprecating, so to speak. And it's like this idea that it's easy to fall into victimhood and let other people make decisions and blame society and do all these sorts of things and never take responsibility. I mean, that's the king in a sense, is the person that takes responsibility and ownership, right? And so you can almost think of it as in the warrior will take responsibility of getting the work done. So when the king's made the decision, it's time for the warrior to get to work. Now, what's interesting is that with the warrior is, if it's not integrated with the emotive side, especially the feminine for a masculine, right? If we don't integrate that, then we can actually become detached. And that's really when we can move into the other inflated shadow variation, which is the sadist, right? Being sadistic and unemotional towards others, we start to dehumanize. So anger would live in, as an emotion, would sort of live in towards more of the warrior. But the issue is that aggression is when we are not integrated, because we can still be vulnerable with anger. We can still sit in anger and be vulnerable and look for a solution without dehumanizing another individual with aggression. So the warrior energy within us wants to get work done, well, healthy, integrated with the lover side or the feminine side, or the mother in that circumstance. You can almost look at it like that. Will actually be able to be firm and just when delivering the said punishment or said rules or said consequences. And so a healthy father, right, with healthy warrior energy needs to be able to integrate compassion in dealing with his daughter when she makes a mistake that is worthy of consequence, right? And it's not a matter of like, you have gone against my word and now you must be punished. Just like, honey, that's not a way to be able to deal with this situation. You have to know that you get to choose your actions. You do not get to choose your consequences to those actions, and that's how it's going to be with life. And you got to take responsibility for those actions. Are you willing to do that? So this is a really, I don't have a daughter to say that to, right? I'm sure there's circumstances maybe in the future where I won't be talking like that. I do not know. I cannot say that for true right now. But what I'm getting at here is, we must, as men, to be true in our masculine, we have to integrate compassion. We have to integrate what is our emotive side as well. And if we ignore that as is something weak, then we become weak. And so the mother side of things is really interesting. So the mother is, if you look at many animals in the kingdom, right, the fact is the mother really is the warrior. They really are the hunter almost. And so the mother will fight tooth and nail to be able to protect, yet the father protects the family, the mother protects the children. It's quite very fascinating, depending on what you want to look at as in the divine feminine. And so the mother is a different energy to the queen. Where the queen becomes sort of royal decision maker, the mother becomes almost like the feminine in her wholeness, right? Because there's a certain level of masculine qualities needed in an individual who's making decisions. And I'm not saying that that's a man's job. I'm saying that testosterone is more involved with direct decision-making process than estrogen, is an easy way to put it. So when looking at the mother's role here, now, if we look at our own mothers, this is a good thing to do, because our mothers that really yield and develop, healthy children that integrate well into society, yes, they're loving. Yes, they want to look out for you, but they do not flood you and they do not leave you alone. They let you learn your lessons. They're there with you, right? And they don't try and, basically wrap you up in cotton wool. They allow this type of warrior within them so that you too can become strong enough to be able to deal with the realities of the world. Right, because that's the issue with, and this happened after the 1980s, because after the 1980s, especially in America, there was a lot more child abductions. There was cable TV now could show all of that a lot easier, and so they started to parent differently. And because of that, it moved into this society later on where it's like, we want to wrap our kids up in cotton wool because we don't want them to disappear. And unfortunately, what that does is also shows that this, like, it teaches a kid that there's this authority that's always outside of you, because there's always an adult or someone bigger, hence the system, that'll punish things for you, as opposed to teaching the kid to take responsibility into their own actions. So a really healthy mother has this warrior, action-orientated side towards her that not only protects her children but develops them. And so the interesting thing with this is that the mother won't let her ego get in the way of bringing forth her children into society. She won't let her insecurities do that, whereas the distance or the possessive mother, which are both shadow variations of the mother, may be in a position to be more inclined to do so. So your possessive mother is a mother that sees the child as the possession and sees people's as possessions. It's hers. No, you're my boy. You're my... No, that he is his own human being. He is his own human being. He is not yours. He came through you. And this is a really interesting thing. It's like, and I say this as well because I'm the youngest of four, and my mother's like my baby boy. I'm like, Mum, I'm a 29-year-old adult male. Like, I'm, just sure, I'm your youngest. I get it, but also understand that you're a parent, but I'm not your child. I'm your adult son. There's a big difference in that, and this was a difficult conversation that I had to have with my mother. But had I not do that, there's a part of our brain that will still keep our parents as these gods that know more than us. And what's interesting as adults is that we have to also understand that that's not the case either. And so, my mother was neither possessive, necessarily, but she did care. And she also had her times where she may have been more distant, but she still did care. She still had those qualities. So if we look at, and I'm encouraging you to reflect either on your relationship with your mother, or if you're a mother, how you obviously mother your children. And I'm not here to tell you how to do that. I'm here to say, here's some information around it. And the distance mother, and this is the interesting thing, is us. We will seek approval from our father and seek love from our mother, all right? The masculine and the feminine will seek approval from the feminine, from the order, right? And we'll seek love from the feminine. We'll seek this deep nurturing from what is chaos within, right? And so this distant mother may be distant for so many reasons, yet what they are doing is not giving this child love that they need to be able to flourish in the world and give that on from there. And what can be dangerous around that is that child may go out seeking that in other people, right? Not realizing that he's just seeking it or she's just seeking it in their mother. It's the same thing for approval, right? If you don't get it from there, you'll find it somewhere. And so this is what's so interesting about our family dynamics that becomes crucial, and understanding the archetypes allows us to be able to go, okay, how can I? Because the question is, and this is a good question that one of my clients proposed to me today, as not necessarily to me, but about developmental coaching, was, could you be better? Not are you doing a good job, right? Of course, you're doing the best with what you got. There's no doubt about that. But the question is, could you be better? And if so, would you? Team, I'm going to leave that with you. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. As always, if you want to jump online, Mood Prep Online on Facebook, and join the chat, join the conversation. There's a bit of banter in there. I do enjoy that. But also it gives me a chance to interact and see what you guys want to learn a bit more about, and see what you guys are enjoying, and go from there. But jump on there. Now, if you found this fascinating, or if you think that you know somebody who would find it fascinating, it would mean the world to me. I'd love it if you could share it with at least one of your friends. I know that I now get statistically 13% of my downloads in the USA, which is rad. And I really appreciate you guys sharing this around and sharing it with your friends. So if you could keep doing that, it would mean the world to me. Jump on YouTube and find me on there as well under Dave Nixon. I've only got, I think, a handful of subscribers, maybe 48 or 50 at the moment. I'm trying to get that number to 100 so I can make it even more unique URL. That's one of the next things that I have to do. And then also find me on Facebook under Dave Nixon. Team, thank you very much, as always, for listening. Until next time, peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, and slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
Everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbright.